Hi, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name's Riley if you're new, and I'm an artist and illustrator. On this channel, I like to share process videos of my artistic practice, journaling content, and bits of my life. In the month of February, I ended up doing 2 art challenges, so I wanted to do a bit of a recap showing you everything that I made. The first challenge that I did is called February Frost, and it's hosted by a bunch of people on Instagram. For each week, there were 2 prompt words, and so the first one is nocturnal and snowdrops. I ended up doing this nighttime scene of a barn owl flying over snowdrop flowers. I also added some snowdrops using white paint splattered over the background. I really like this one. I think it reminds me a lot of like picture book illustration, and this is the sketch I made planning out the illustration. The prompts for the second week were stars/quilt, and I interpreted this as the night sky being a patchwork quilt. I used a lot of like traditional quilt shapes, and I also added a moon and some stars. I think this one turned out really interesting, and I love the colors in the sky. This is the sketchbook page I used to plan this one out. The prompts for the third week were crocus and frost, and so this one kind of depicts winter as it's ending, the snow's melting, and flowers are starting to bloom. I love how the trees frame the sky in this illustration, and I really like the contrast of the cool and warm tones. I also just really love drawing crocus flowers, so I was happy to be able to make them from paper, and then this is the sketchbook page for this illustration. And the prompts for the final week were robin and sparkling. I put the robin in the center of the image, and then I put, I guess it would be geese returning from the winter up in the background. I really like how I did the branches for this one, and here's the sketchbook page. I'm super happy of all the work I made for this art challenge, and I'm glad I decided to participate. It was also really fun seeing what everyone else made for each prompt. On Instagram, you'll be able to see what everyone ended up making if you look at the hashtag FebruaryFrost2026. The second art challenge I did during February is called Febrilage, and this is a collage challenge with daily prompts. I decided to put them all into this little book, and I just wrote down all the prompts on the inside front cover here. You can see each day's prompt on the bottom corner of each page. I started off using 1 or 2 colors for each collage, and then as the book progresses, I added in more colors. I will say doing 2 art challenges in 1 month, especially because February is a shorter month, it was very overwhelming, and I did feel super burnt out in March, but I am really glad that I participated in these. The Febrilage in particular really got me thinking about how to depict certain prompts through imagery in a different way than I'm used to. Also, the prompts were things that I wouldn't necessarily gravitate towards on my own, and I think it pushed me out of my comfort zone. I also really liked sharing my collages on a weekly basis through Instagram Reels, and this pigeon on the right is so fun. I love him. And yeah, so there were 28 collages in this book. This book is just a little notebook that I made out of some scrap paper, and I staple bound it initially, but halfway through the month I ended up adding a pamphlet stitch with like wax thread just to keep the book intact as it bulked up with a lot of paper scraps. And that's the end. I'm considering either making some mini prints of this book or creating a zine. Let me know if you're interested. This collage was a personal project I ended up making. I think it speaks for itself, but I really love this piece. I also somehow got into needlepoint. I picked up some plastic canvases from Dollar Tree, and I already had a ton of yarn and embroidery thread, so that little patchwork star was my first one. It's super messy on the back, but I ended up just watching one tutorial to kind of learn the basics and then kind of went in my own direction. But both of these are my own design. I made this little house, and I kind of wanted to make it like a box. I need to work out some little details with that, but they're so cute. Another project that I did was adding fabric to my sketchbook cover. I used fabric fusion glue, and it worked out really well. These are just some pieces of fabric I've had for a really long time, and I also did it to this sketchbook a while back. There's a flip through of this sketchbook on my channel if you're interested. I'm thinking of also making a longer video where I talk through what I made in that sketchbook. And here's everything all together. This was a super productive month, and I'm so happy with everything that I made. If you're interested in seeing my work more frequently, I post on Instagram at the same username. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day and take care. Bye.